I remember being in the shower and just crying in the shower. I just had so much regret that like I built something over 7 years that I thought was good and helped people. But then when I started to see where I could go and I had someone outline like the concrete vision for a leveraged program that removes me from the day-to-day but gives my genius to our clients, and an evergreen sales system where I record a video once instead of doing webinars and content and quizzes and podcasts, but instead I just like focused on one video, an evergreen sales asset that I could send to anyone. I was like, wow, okay, that's like, it worked. When it worked, I realized all that other buzzy stuff I had been keeping myself busy with, it like got so embarrassing. I was just like, how could I be so smart and feel like I knew what I was doing and even run a 6-figure business for this long and be so off course?
Good afternoon. How are you today, Hannah?
Living the dream.
Well, I'm so happy to be here with you for this quick little interview.
Here in New York City.
Very exciting times.
Long sleeves.
Inspirational times. So, we're here just kind of learn more about you, your story, your journey, and kind of how you made it happen. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about your journey getting here?
Okay, well, I was born on a Monday. Maybe we won't go that far back, but I definitely did not grow up knowing the word entrepreneur or ever considering having a business myself. Growing up in a small town in Wisconsin, there was just like a very clear path where you go to school, you do a good job, you keep going to school, you get a job, you do that job for 30 years. And I followed that path that was prescribed for me. I was a straight A student. I was class president from 6th grade all the way until my senior year. And then I graduate and I got to go to the college of my choice, which was 45 minutes away. So I could still do my laundry at my parents' house. And while I went to a big city, I still was very much what I now realize to be in a middle class, Midwestern mindset. And so I also excelled in college, but I didn't want to leave. So after college, I was like, well, I could keep leading college students down their path. And so I became an academic advisor. And I say all of this kind of in hindsight, like it was just like so obvious. But of course I had my own trials and tribulations figuring out, you know, as much as I could fit in, there was something inside of me that felt like what Tony Robbins calls the sleeping giant within. That was like, yes, I can do this. But specifically when I got my first day job, I was an academic advisor, University of Wisconsin, and I looked around at my colleagues who did this for 30 years, and even the students I was talking to, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I still didn't really have an answer for myself, because I looked at my colleagues and I was like, I don't want to just do this like bureaucracy thing for 30 years and call that a career or call that a life. And so I had my own healing journey. I had an eating disorder in my 20s that led me to therapy and then led me to yoga. And so at my desk job, I started playing hooky, going to yoga at like 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. And I just remember being like, okay, not everyone else is like making up calendar. Like I would say like, I'm at the OBGYN Wednesday at 10 a.m. But I would go to yoga and I was like, okay, everyone here is not playing hooky from their day job. How are other people taking a 10 a.m. Wednesday yoga class? And that is when I learned the word entrepreneur, because some of the people in those yoga classes, yes, they were grad students, but they were women who had their own business and multi-level marketing companies and entrepreneur. And I just started learning all of these possibilities that were outside of the path or the status quo that had been prescribed. So it was really those like yoga classes that started opening my eyes to maybe there's something more for me to pursue.
Interesting. Very interesting. And earlier you said you moved to a big city. We're in New York City now. Do you think it was a big city?
Yeah, I know. Madison, Wisconsin. It's very adorable. I love it. But
is that kind of your Midwestern mindset a little bit, or what?
Yeah, it was just what I was exposed to.
Yeah.
So,
Exposure.
Yeah. And so I did travel in college. I went to the Dominican Republic and taught orphans English there. And then I got the taste of the travel bug. And I remember I even made a YouTube video in the Dominican Republic. And I said something like, I realize I'm just a tiny drop in this whole world. And before, I felt kind of like a big fish because I could do good at school. I could follow the rules. I got A's. I was a leader. And I was a big fish in a small pond. And then the pond got bigger when I started traveling. And then realizing, wow, I'm just like a tiny speck in this whole thing. And I liked that. And I don't know if it was the challenge or just the like diversity and experience. But then I went to, after the Dominican Republic, I went to Cambodia and Kenya and Nepal and Thailand. And I did volunteer projects and I built schools with volunteer groups. And that is when I realized, wow, my gifts can go really far. Not just in this small pond that I've been exposed to from growing up in a small town, but I do have gifts that like the world needs. And so that, coupled with a yoga practice, coupled with having a job and seeing what the 30-year trajectory would be, is what inspired me to initially say yes to becoming a certified yoga teacher, which then led me to thinking about adding on Arbonne products like an MLM. Mm-hmm. And like that's when I started learning about success principles and business and sales and all these things you have to do after you become a certified yoga teacher to like actually teach yoga. You needed to figure out how to get people to your classes. And then if you actually want people to change their lives with yoga, they might also need protein powder or other things. And it just has become like a snowball of, I get exposed and then I'm like, oh, I see there's a lot of, I just love potential.
Yeah, who doesn't? You've mentioned yoga a lot. And
Namaste.
I think a lot of people associate yoga with movement. What was it for you?
The combination of mind, body, and spirit. Like for me, my mind would go in all of these different directions. I like to move my body and like, but that would run in a different direction. And then I didn't know it was spirit at the time. I grew up Catholic. I always had a connection to a higher power. But yoga was a thing that brought all of these things that felt like I have these crazy dreams and I have all this ambition and I also know that I need to tap into the spiritual and trust the divine. And like yoga, I mean, it's yoking. It's the union of all of those things. And it was a place for me to really explore, again, my potential and to just be someone. And I know a lot of the people that I work with now, they just feel like there's something inside of me. Like all of these random experiences, all of these struggles, all of these schools in Cambodia, like there is a common through line. And for me, yoga started to give me a practice to like every day connect my mind, body, and spirit, and then start to take, steps, actions
like
in the rest of my day.
Intentional,
Intention. Huge thing I got from yoga.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, wonderful start to this. And if you're all right with it, I'd like to kind of switch to business now.
Please.
So you've had a six-figure, more or less, business for a few years now. Mm-hmm. What made it realize it wasn't your dream life yet? Like, did you still feel like you were pulled to do more? What was it?
Yeah.
Like, was it not enough?
Yeah, it's been so many seasons. So now I learned the word entrepreneur like 12 years ago, right? And so for 9 years, I have been my own boss. And there's many seasons that happen within the course of 9 years. And I mean, at the beginning, it was just such a thrill to get my first high ticket coaching client, Rustin. I still remember where I enrolled him, my then boyfriend's parents' house in Sacramento, California. I had been taking so many calls from like just talking to so many people, and Rustin was my first client that paid me $3,500. And then I got like 5 more of those, and they kept rolling in over that course of the year, and that felt like so satisfying and like this is what I always wanted. And then what I've learned in working with myself and so many other coaches is that as soon as you accomplish one goal, there are 5 more. And so it has been seasons where at first it felt like, just working with clients one-on-one and helping them figure out what their dream life is. That felt like everything. But now that was 9 years ago. And the most recent season that I felt like plateaued at was, I think, the not pinnacle, but I know what a lot of other people strive towards, which is multi six figures. I had a team, I had a good base of clients who were paying me a monthly retainer. And after about a year and a half of just letting that do its thing, I again came back to there's so much more I could be giving them. And this is the beauty, I think, about the coaching industry or working in professional personal development, is that every step of my own journey, I create more. So like, in me figuring out how to manage a team of 5, for example, I learned a lot about leadership and leading a team that I didn't know when I was just working with clients one-on-one. And in hindsight, right, I've learned that there's a distinction between working with clients one-on-one, just focusing on client work, but then this having a small and mighty team thing started to really inspire me. But also, it wasn't profitable. So it was kind of like, yeah, I wanted to do more, but I also was starting to look at the business model of having a team and realize that I needed to grow up. Like, other things needed to change in my business model, not just delegate and grow a team, but actually scale my leadership, scale my expertise so that having a team makes sense and is profitable long term. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like, okay, you're at multi six figures, you have a team, things are humming, but I wasn't comfortable with like the growth opportunity that I saw in that business model.
You were talking about potential earlier. You
Right.
didn't see as much potential, maybe.
Right. And the same era that I was building that team was the same time that I moved to Mexico with my husband and dog from California. And there's something about the Mexican culture that made me want to nap and go to the
Siesta.
beach. And I mean, it didn't like tamper my ambition, but moving from the rat race of, city life, California, everyone is hungry for more. You kind of have to work hard in order to afford food. And then we moved to Mexico, and the culture is much more relaxed, and there's less of that hustle culture. And so I very much got into like the soft girl era, or in what I now call my siesta era, which was just like trust it all to the divine, like rely on law of attraction. Whatever happens, happens. And I focused more on my lifestyle and feeling good, and again, good for my own personal development journey. I think it filled up my personal battery pack enough to then again remember there's more. So now we're at, in the last year I've committed to building and running a 7-figure organization, which does include team, but I've also learned that growing a team can also be about processes or AI. There's just like so many other ways to scale. And that's where we are today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, did you always believe 7 figures was possible? And if not, what changed? Because you're making it happen now. I'm sure you believe it now.
Right.
Like, did anything change for you?
Yeah. I always had the vision for 7 figures. Like, even when I got that first coaching client, Rustin, I was like, okay, if I just get 30 more of these, I'll be a millionaire. Or, I would like do the math. I don't remember exactly what the math is on that offer that I had in 2015 or whatever it was. But I always thought it was possible. I liked hanging around millionaires. Like, even when I was in a whole bunch of credit card debt, I was going to, Jack Canfield seminars and learning about the law of attraction and hanging around people who are millionaires, like successful people. So I always believed it was possible, but I always hit a bottleneck at 6 figures or low multi 6 figures. And I thought, okay, I just need to because I had understood enough. I thought I know enough about business to get to 6 figures, so I just need to do more of that to get to 7. And when that wasn't happening, this is when my siesta girl era came in, because I thought, okay, I just need to learn how to manage my money mindset better. There's something in my belief system that must be energetically kinking more clients coming to me. Because I thought, I know how to bring some to me, referrals come to me. There must be something, if I just become more magnetic or a better person or a law of attraction 7 figures to me, this will happen. And now that I'm at 7 figures, I've realized that you need both the dream life car and the real life car connected. Because I've had times where it's just the real life car that's like grinding and taking sales calls and enrolling clients and figuring out how to charge high ticket. And then I've also had the times where it's just like, okay, just like visualize and put it on your vision board and wait until it happens. And 7 figures required systems and spirit, like both of those things moving in the same direction. And it was never just like one lead gen strategy or one meditation that's gonna open up my chakras to receive more. Like, it's about process goals. It's about the stuff that I do every day or every week or every month consistently that I didn't understand. I people in my personal life have coached me on my hurry up and chill mindset. And life has taught us that like it's life has taught us that it's a finite game. Like, you get into school, you pass first grade, yay, it ends, you get to go to the next level. You do good at it, yay, it ends, you go to the next level. But life itself is infinite. Like, there's no finish line. Even when we hit 7 figures, it was like, in hindsight, it was like doing math and realizing, oh, guys, like, we did it. Like, here we are. This is what it feels like. Another day at work. Mm-hmm. Okay, we have to go fulfill on this. Okay, there's more to do. Okay, let's keep growing. Let's keep tweaking systems. And so I think the mindset...
Like a lifelong learner.
Yeah, and for me, I thought 7 figures was going to be some like finish line, some graduation. And it really just feels like the beginning.
Some potential, I hear. Very exciting.
Patterns.
So do you remember a specific, like a turning point, like a moment where it just kind of changed the game for you?
Meeting my business partner, yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I was in a bad place when I met my business partner. It was the summer of 2023, and I had seen that this model of having a team and having long-term clients was not sustainably profitable for me. And so I spent the summer of 2023 interviewing all of these other like women masterminds and women in business masterminds and millionaire mentors and all these gurus that were supposed to have the secret to 7 figures that I didn't.
What was the problem? I don't want you to go back into those vibes.
Oh, yeah.
But like what were the problems that you were trying to solve?
Bleeding money.
That you saw, that you were experiencing? Because I'm sure a lot of other people go through the same processes.
Totally good. Hemorrhaging money. I just had so much, they say there's no overhead in online business. But like 7 years in, I had a VA, a graphic designer, website subscriptions, 4 team members. Like, I was just putting out all of this money to like keep the machine going and have people help me with things. And that's good and fine if you have consistent sales. But I hired those people in a peak, in a summer, in a fruitful period. But winter always comes. And I didn't have any reliable way to be getting new clients. So it's like, yay, I manifested this big, for other coaches, it's like they have a big launch. Okay, but then what do you do next month? So for me, it was like, okay, I got some good referrals this month. Okay, I have some new clients. This is, I see it. I can do the math. I can manifest it. I'm just going to hopium. I'm going to suck on the hopium that this is just, okay, this is what I do now. But I didn't have a system, right? So my problems were like, I keep telling the team, this is going to be the month we attract more clients. I kept just hoping it was going to get better. I would put out more content, host another webinar, go to another retreat, just put more money on the problem. And I had done that in so many directions that I was really burnt out. And so I talked to these mentors that I wanted to hire. I wanted someone to help me, but they kept telling me things that I had tried. And they kept saying like there was some smoke and mirrors thing. Again, maybe it's just my mindset. Maybe it's just this one sales page. But none of it, I didn't trust any of it. And so
I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there and a lot of gurus selling us the lifestyle that if you just document your life on Instagram or you figure out the perfect launch plan, all of your problems will be solved. But I had seen enough of that to be like, there's more. There's something they're not telling me.
Yeah.
There's some missing piece that nobody has highlighted. And I'm not going to keep trying the same content, webinar, hustle, DM, go viral BS. And so when my business partner came and was willing to like partner and say, I see your potential. I see your work ethic. I see the mess that you have. And I think we can get you off of this sinking sailboat and go to a cruise ship of like a leverage program and 7 figures happening easily. But you have to swim. You got to get in the water, be a beginner, learn how to swim, put in the reps. And there was a cruise ship and now we're there. But at the time it was incredibly painful to leave the sailboat.
The mindset shift, transition period.
Yeah. I remember being in the shower and just crying in the shower and just being like, how could I just had so much regret that like I built something over 7 years that I thought was good and helped people. But then when I started to see where I could go and I had someone outline like the concrete vision for a leveraged program that removes me from the day-to-day but gives my genius to our clients, and an evergreen sales system where I record a video once instead of doing webinars and content and quizzes and podcasts. Like I do that once and
promos and specials and
ads, all of the smoke and mirrors. But instead I just like focused on one video, an evergreen sales asset that I could send to anyone. I was like, wow, okay, that's like it worked. When it worked, I realized all the other buzzy stuff I had been keeping myself busy with, it like got so embarrassing. I was just like, how could I be so smart and feel like I knew what I was doing and even run a 6-figure business for this long and be so off course? Like it was really embarrassing to see how easy it could have been and how complicated and messy I had made it. But the hardest part for me was how many people that I had in agreeing with my old beliefs to like have a team and say, this is how we do it. And then to have to change, it was really hard. And again, hindsight and why we're doing this video is so other people can maybe feel like they're not alone, because I had been operating as a coach and the shift that got me to 7 figures was starting to operate like a CEO. So now that I have this hindsight, and my business partner is a med school dropout, so he has the like medical school take on this as well. He wasn't a life coach, but he says nurses are just like life coaches, where nurses will be there by your bedside, giving you one-on-one support, bend over backwards, save your life, but they burn themselves out because they're always available. And they try to be literally the lifesaver to everyone. And it's not just the patient, right? Like the client. I was also being the nurse to my team and always available and just like mending all of their wounds. And then the shift was to become a specialist, like a heart surgeon. So many nurses also take this progression. That's like, okay, I don't want to be bedside my whole life. I want to become a more specialized nurse, or I want to become a doctor. Or doctors even then decide to become a cardiologist or a foot doctor, or something that's specific.
Niche down.
And niching is not about like, oh, this is only for female entrepreneurs in their 30s. Niching for me was about like really zoning in on my zone of genius. I loved having a team. I wanted to lead a team, but we had to be profitable. And so the CEO thinks about systems, thinks about how to do this in a leveraged way, thinks about repeating this, thinks about something bigger than herself. And that's the like cocoon that I had to go into, and the metamorphosis that was painful at the beginning. But if I had this hindsight and I could have realized, oh, this is just like a nurse becoming a specialist, or this is like my grad school period to go learn how to be a CEO, I think I would have spent less time crying in the shower about all the mistakes I had made and money I was bleeding.
Yeah, cool. Very cool. So you mentioned the transition from coach to CEO.
Yeah.
When you moved from coach to CEO, what were some positives and what were some negatives?
Okay.
And how did you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Really good. And I like my negativity bias wants me to start with the negative. It's so much easier to say what we don't want or like what was hard than like the good stuff.
Let's do a good sandwich.
Okay.
With a negative in the middle.
Okay. Well, okay, number one, the best part was just like getting paid so much more. I could increase my prices, I could enroll more people, and the program was shorter. So the old way as a coach, I was like, okay, this is going to take them like a year. Like, I don't want to just like give them a Band-Aid. I was like, no, I need to work with you for a year. And so I had these long contracts, which also meant long sales cycles and people really needing to be my people in order to make that commitment. So before I had long sales cycles, I had to do a lot of convincing and like waiting and following up and are you my soulmate client or not? And now, I mean, just today, we had 3 new clients at the high ticket point. And like that kind of income would have taken me 3 months in the past. So I guess that's kind of a sandwich where it was like, it's good that I can make a lot more money because in the past it was harder and it took a lot more time. And so now it's just kind of like automatic because I'm not selling me as a coach one-on-one. Do you like me? Are we friends? Like, are you my soulmate? Like now it's like, okay, this is the system. Do you have this problem? The system fixed that problem. Should we get started or not? It's just a much more like rational business strategic conversation.
Less personal.
Yeah. And I know people still appreciate my energy and I work with people who are my people, but I'm not selling me. I'm not selling my energy. I'm also not relying on my energy. It used to be like, if I feel like it, I'll be inspired. If I feel like it, I'll be a good coach today. If I do my inner work, then I'll be able to share more. But now it's just like, this is the system. Do you want it? I'm going to hold your hand and you have to appreciate the same things that I appreciate in order to be a good client because this is built around my values. And if we share values, yay. But you also don't have to love everything about me and say, I'm going to hang out with you on Zoom every single week for an hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So to wrap this up, this has been wonderful. Just want to ask, what advice would you give to other coaches or experts in their fields that are kind of stuck and don't really know what to do next?
Okay, big inhale and exhale, right? That's the easiest way to calm everything. It's like take a deep breath. And when you have been in the game or you are really good at something, it can be hard to exhale and to like give yourself some breathing room from the day-to-day or what you're in right now. But get some perspective and take this nugget I wish I had. It is so much easier to play big than it is to play small. Because when I was playing small, it was like, okay, I need people to like me. I was people pleasing. I was trying to make some cute personal brand that would like resonate with people. And I just wanted a few clients to come in and pay me so I could take care of me and my selfish goals. Looking good, paying myself, feeling like I figured it out.
In your own little bubble.
Yeah. And again, when you're in the Barbie box, it's hard to know that you're in the Barbie box, just focusing on your pom-poms and your looking good stuff, right?
A fish does not know it's underwater.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying first take a breath, then hear me when I say, it is much easier to think about being the Mattel instead of the Barbie. To be the CEO, to be the specialist instead of being the coach or the nurse. And if you can remove yourself enough from your own selfish, what I want to do day to day, or what's going to make me feel good short term, and you can start to think about what is actually going to help other people sustainably. One of the quotes I had in my apartment when I was building everything, before I had Rustin, that first client, said, when you help enough other people get what they want, you get what you want. And it's very easy when you're naturally good at something and you're attracted to the entrepreneurial lifestyle to start eating the marketing guru's advice that says, just, make content and become a Kardashian and make yourself a star and then people will be attracted to you. But that's short term and that's selfish. And that's how I started and that's how I can tell this story, that is playing small. Playing big is building an institution, even something you could sell, something you could hand down and other people could run without you. Like now that's my North Star, is like, how do I get my gifts and my genius into enough people and processes and systems that it's not just about me, and it's not about me being in the room that actually fixes you, but I'm creating something that lives on.
Ripples.
CEO, institution, hospital, something way bigger than just bedside service. Because when I started thinking like a CEO, when I started thinking, how do I build something bigger than me? That is when I got out of my own limiting beliefs that was like, well, what if people judge me? Who cares? Because I'm saving the world. Like, of course people are going to judge me when you do something big, right? Or like, how am I going to look? I don't know. Is it going to change their life? And so much of my anxiety goes away when I stop focusing on my own inner story or how I'm going to feel, and I just think about, how can I help more people? How can I get this to them faster? How can I focus on a better product, more efficient solution, helping them avoid all of this stuff that I went through, instead of just being in the going through stuff phase.
Yeah. Micro to macro. Out of your head into the world.
Exactly that.
Exactly. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Yes. And just one last thing.
Yeah.
Dream life is real life.
Oh, yeah. I heard you mention that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, everything starts as a dream. And so it's easier again to dream big.
And walking through the streets of New York City, everything is so big. And you just think, everyone dreamed of this.
Yes.
Everything you see here, someone thought of, dreamed
Just a couple
of.
hundred years ago.
Yeah.
People like us.
And they made it happen. Not by themselves, with help.
Absolutely.
By building companies. Cool.
Cheers to growth.
Cheers.